Hey everybody, morning. Alright, this video is about your project entitled Food Matters. Now, sociologically speaking, one of my biggest areas of interest really is food and health, and sociologically looking at what have we done to our food, how is it helping us, how is it hurting us, how is it specific to our culture, what are some of the trends that we're seeing in regards to that, in regards to health, in regards to happiness, how does it relate to food. Anyway, this is all about that and those types of perspectives. So the project is called Food Matters, and it's due on March 30th. And this particular project really has many different components. It's worth 150 points, and like all my other assignments, it has to be single-spaced with an 11 font or smaller. But there's several different parts, and the first part to this is to make a list of ingredients. And if you eat conventional foods, meaning foods which are not organic, then you take those and you write down a list of ingredients. Okay, so mac and cheese, what's in your tomato sauce, what's in the noodle pack that you have. So all of those, 10 of them, and all of their ingredients. Then you take the organic comparative and you do the same thing. All right, so you've got a couple big lists here, 10 things and then 10 things on the other side. So if you're eating mac and cheese, Kraft mac and cheese, on the left side put down all the ingredients. Then go to the store if you don't eat organic foods, or vice versa, and look up, okay, here's some Annie's pasta or some Annie's mac and cheese, what are the ingredients? All right, so the similar items are compared, you have the list of the two. That's the first part. The second part is to compare and contrast the differences between conventional growing, genetically modified grown foods, foods that are grown organically and naturally, foods that are grown with or without pesticides, and write a 2-page single-space response to that. Talk about the different ways that we farm. How is it different from 50 years ago? What are some of the new problems that are occurring? What are some of the new fantastic things that are happening with farming? Just an overview of how we do things. What do you know about GMO? Did you know that over 2/3 of all the food in your grocery store are genetically modified? Okay, so what we need to do is we need to take these and get in depth with them. Now, if you look for organic foods or conventional foods or things like that, and you just Google the first page and you go down the line, you're going to find a lot of sources or resources that aren't all that credible. Okay? And that has to do with how the ranking systems are done online for search engines. People pay to have their products and or their views listed towards the top. So you really need to get in depth. What is GMO? What is organic food? Is it really safer? Is it not? And you have to take a look at where your sources are coming from. If you find a source that says that organic food is no better and there's absolutely no proof whatsoever, and that's paid for by the Farmers Council, which is, farming maybe mainly or strictly in a conventional viewpoint, then we have to know that might be a biased source, right? If we're looking into the effects of fast food and there's a study that comes out that says we can wipe out as many trees as we want, no problem, they can graze, cattle can graze, no problem, okay, paid for by McDonald's. We might have a problem with that, okay? So make sure your sources are strong, look into them, and do some real good research here. Everybody feels a certain way or another. I feel that organic foods are worse for me or not as good as conventional foods. I feel that genetically modified foods aren't going to have an impact on me. I want your opinion in this paper, but I also want you to do really good, solid research. Now, the third component would be a cultural perspective, and you'll have to write a 2-page single-spaced paper that is part of this all, that has a cultural perspective. What does food mean to us in the United States? Do we bother to see if it's safe? How do we use food? Do we eat? Do we overeat? What are our portions like? What does time restrictions or how we even perceive time have to do with how we eat? And lastly, but not least, why don't we say you are what you eat anymore? All right, so what we're going to do here is take a really good, in-depth sociological look at food. And I think this is fantastic because really until I started looking into food about 4 or 5 years ago, I had no idea some of the things that I have learned. So This is not designed for you to come up with some kind of perspective that you think I would like, oh, organic food is great, you can only eat organic food. No, I want you to come to your own conclusions through good research and a good examination of what is our relationship with food in this culture. It seems like a really simple thing, but in fact it's not. Alright, so food does matter, and I think that you can get a fantastic grade on this project, but remember, with all of my projects, don't do the bare minimum. Alright? The bare minimum is 2 pages single-spaced, write 2.5. I think that all too often we get into the habit of doing the bare minimum for everything, but the grades that I see for the people that oftentimes go just a little bit farther are oftentimes better because their work is more in-depth and more thoughtful. So be thoughtful, relax, and breathe, and what are you going to find out about the food that we eat? Peace.